Hey guys, welcome back. Uh, my work got called off tonight. We are having ice storms here in parts of Kentucky, and I guess it was going to be pretty bad. So I started out to work. Actually, started out to work early because we were supposed to have our monthly communication meeting, which is like an hour before work. And I got on the road about 5 miles, and we always get like a voicemail and a text notifying us if there's any kind of change to our work schedule. So okay, so I pulled off the interstate and I said, well, I'll just kind of hang out at the comic shop for a little while and until I go on to work. And I picked up a couple of books and got back out on the road again. And when I was probably about halfway to work, I got another voicemail and a text saying that work had been called off. So our meeting had got rescheduled for next week, and then farther down the road, then they told us our work had got canceled for second and third shifts. So I figured while I had some time tonight, I'll just go ahead and I'll show those couple of books I picked up, and also I kind of wanted to start showing some stuff where I still have original comics from my childhood, and like showing the book, and then like in an upgraded version, and then maybe showing the original comic if I still had it. In a lot of cases, I didn't, but just some favorite stuff. I mean, I've showed a lot of the keys I had and other favorites like the 100 pagers and whatnot, but I just thought I'd go ahead and share this, maybe share a few childhood memories about those books. As far as the books I picked up at the comic shop, it's nothing major, but just stuff I needed and wanted. I was a big fan of like all the books that DC came out with during the so-called DC explosion, which turned into the implosion. But there was like 3 months, excuse me, where they expanded all their books to like 50 cents, 44-page content. And I'm trying to complete all of those so I can maybe assemble a good video on the DC explosion slash implosion. The one of the books I did not have was Jonah Hex number 16, and it's got a cool little date stamp on top. And I think this was the first issue of Jonah Hex to feature the expanded page count. So I need two more of those. Got a nice Rich Buckler and Frank Giacoia cover on it. And the other book I picked up, pretty sure this is a reprint from like the Doctor Strange series before this. But this is Doctor Strange 21. And these two books were like in the $3 box, so pretty nice. They got some ratty Silver Age stuff. They're pretty well worn, but some of the Bronze Age books are pretty nice. And so for $3, I thought this was a pretty cool pickup. Got a really, really nice cover by Gene Colan and Tom Palmer. So for $3, not bad. Okay, to get to some of my childhood books. I don't know, I might have mentioned this before, but I had a first cousin who's sadly no longer with us. But when we were kids, I used to go to his house, and him and his brother had this big steamer trunk full of comic books, and a little bit of everything. And I'm sure I've mentioned this stuff before, but a couple of books that I do remember, and one I have the original copy, and the other one I don't. But he had a little bit of everything. They were really big into the war comics, and for some reason they had a whole bunch of Charlton stuff, and I think that's when I first got interested in Charlton comics. One of my favorite Charlton comics and favorite covers. Now this isn't the original because apparently the other one, went by the wayside somewhere, or I wore it out. But E-Man number 4, and I just love this cover. I like any kind of cover or any kind of landscape that's got like a lot of windswept sand dunes or mountains or rocks or anything in it, and especially if it's alien in nature. But this is just a great cover by Joe Staton. So my original ratty copy of this I have no longer, but I did get one just to have in the collection. Another favorite book that I got in trading comics with my cousin is, I'm sure I've shown this one before, but it's Fantastic Giants number 24. And these are all Steve Ditko stories, Conga and Gorgo, Hogar and the Mountain Monster. It's a great square-bound book. This one's in really nice shape. But I was, my original, I was just about wore it out, as you'll soon see. This is Ditko's own version of himself in portrait. So lots of great monster stuff by Steve Ditko. And here is my original copy. Very well loved. I think it must have got crumpled or something, or else I had it in my back pocket, or somebody did as a kid. It's pretty ratty shape, but it's one of those, one of the ones from my childhood. Here's another one that I don't have the original for, because I know I pretty much wore it out, but I had to get an upgrade later on. It was Green Lantern number 92. It's after they restarted the series after it had been canceled after the Neil Adams run. Got great Mike Grell art in it, and I was already aware of Mike Grell from Legion of Superheroes. So this is a great story, great cover. And probably one of my favorite, or not favorite, but first exposure to Jack Kirby stuff from DC, other than Commandy, was this book, Mr. Miracle number 18. And this was the last Kirby issue, actually, before they canceled it and restarted it later on. So, got an appearance by Darkseid. This is my original. It's actually still in pretty decent shape. But you can't go wrong with Jack Kirby. And here's another one that holds a special place. I think the only time before I bought this comic that I had actually read any Metal Men was like in a 100-page Brave and Bold, maybe. There was like a reprint, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, the Metal Men. And then when they came out with this book, I was really excited, so I picked it up. Metal Men 45. Got a great Dick Giordano cover. Walt Simonson on the interiors, I think probably for the first, 5 or 7 issues, something like that. But just a really great story. Big fan of the Metal Men. And here's my original. Really worn. Lots of nice tape and all kinds of good stuff on it. Spine roll. So I pretty much read this one until the cover was falling off. And I noticed I just, when I was a kid, I was tried to keep them together with tape just so I could keep the cover on it. You see the little DG on the spine there, another Dick Giordano cover. And as I was talking about Mike Grell before, I don't know what it is, but it seemed like a lot of these comics I picked up were like second issues of something. First or second issues, whatever, mostly second issues. And this was my first exposure to Warlord number 2. Great Mike Grell cover. Love this story, love the characters. I think this is like the first meeting between him and Machiste, if I'm pronouncing that right. And I do have my original copy. Again, held together with Scotch tape. So, yeah, really fond of this book. Okay, I don't have my original for this, but this was my first exposure to OMAC, another favorite Kirby character. OMAC number 2. And the story on this one, a lot of times I would go stay with my cousins in the summer for a week or two, and they lived in another county and kind of lived out on a farm, so we had a lot of fun, camping and fishing. And their cousins had like a little mom and pop store. And my other cousin, he's the same age as me. We used to like go along and go out and just like find pop bottles to go cash in. I think you get like a nickel for the pop bottles. So we would like get an old wagon and just like find pop bottles in the ditch, or laying around people's houses, or didn't want them or whatever, and we'd take them and cash them in, and we would get like candy and chips and comic books. And I don't think they had like new comics, but they always had like a stack of old comics, and I think they were like selling them for 10 cents or 15 cents. So this was the issue I bought at the mom and pop store. Not the issue, because I don't have that one anymore, but this is the issue that I bought back then, or a copy of the issue, let me put it that way. Mr. Big, great story. Another one that I don't have the original for. Seemed like if it wasn't a number 2 issue, is like when they were like restarting a series, and so I had read reprints of the Teen Titans, say again like in the old Brave and Bold 100 pagers, and so this is when they restarted the book. I guess it was probably 1976 or so. Here's number 44, Teen Titans against Dr. Light, and introducing the Guardian, which was Mal Duncan. And this is an Ernie Chan and Vince Coletta cover. I really love the interior art because I think it was Pablo Marcos, maybe. Yeah, Pablo Marcos and Bob Smith on the inks. And Marcos didn't do a whole lot of superhero stuff, but the stuff that he did do, I really liked for some reason. Or just like I don't know, call it a real kinetic energy about it. Maybe like Kirby stuff. Not the same style, but the same kind of, punch, I guess. But, my original copy of this is long gone, but I had to pick up a replacement, so. Okay, this next one, I think I featured this whole series at one time, but these were like my 2 favorite issues. So the Freedom Fighters, number 1. This is a nice high grade copy. One of my favorite Ernie Chan covers of all time. It's just, and before this, I hadn't read the Justice League and Justice Society team up. That featured this JLA 107 and 108. So this was my first exposure to the quality characters, I guess, that DC purchased. But this isn't actually the first issue that I read, but more on that in a minute. The first issue that I read was actually issue number 2. And there I go with the number 2 again. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I got this, and I just love the characters, love the story. And there's another Dick Giordano cover, and it's got Pablo Marcos art. So there was just something about a lot of stuff that these short runs had. They very, very seldom had the same artist team all the way through, and sometimes I liked that and sometimes I didn't. But I really liked having Pablo Marcos on this issue. I think it was maybe. Trying to think who the artist was in number 1. Find out really quick. I want to say Al Milgrom or Dick Ayers. Completely wrong. Rick Estrada layouts and Mike Royer on the lettering and the inks for the finished art. So there's a really nice splash page. Estrada and Royer. And here's my original copy. Pretty beat up, or well loved. More tape on the spine to hold it together, just so I could read it again. I just really love this book. First appearance of the Silver Ghost. So I had that issue, and I was like, wow, I said, I'd like to read number 1. Well, a friend of mine at school, and I guess it was around 6th grade, maybe, it was in junior high, And he said, "Oh, I think I've got like the number one issue." So he brought it to me, and it was rolled up in his back pocket. But to me, it was like gold, and I gave him a quarter for it because that was what he paid for it. But as you can see, it was well loved by both of us. There's like a big rip, I think probably all the way through the cover, and I think I taped it back. So yeah, there's the rip all the way through, held together with Scotch tape and love. But I love this book. I love the series and the characters, and after these two, I was hooked, and I had to get all of them. But yeah, I used to sit around like in study hall, and I like draw the faces of the freedom fighters, and have them like my little lineup, like you saw on a lot of DC comics on the sides and on the tops. You had the floating heads or whatever. But really, really big fan of this book and the whole series. All right, guys, that's probably just dipping my toe in the water on like favorite comics from childhood that maybe you haven't seen me feature a whole lot anyway. But I'll be going through more boxes since I've got access now, and I'll be pulling out more childhood books and more childhood memories. I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly have. Onward and upward.